Ever wondered how the thrilling game of rugby came to be? Let's take a journey back to the early 19th century, in the small town of Rugby, England. Here, a young man named William Webb Ellis is said to have sparked the birth of rugby. According to legend, during a regular game of football, in a daring act of rebellion against the norm, Ellis picked up the ball and ran. This seemingly simple act laid the foundation for what we now know as rugby. The game quickly caught on, spreading like wildfire through the British schools. It wasn't long before rugby had woven itself into the fabric of British society, becoming a beloved sport. From the schoolyards of Rugby, England to stadiums across the globe, the game of rugby has captivated millions with its blend of strength, strategy, and spirit. So, the next time you watch a rugby match, remember you have William Webb Ellis to thank for it. Did you know rugby wasn't always an international sport? The seeds of this tough and thrilling game were first sown in the fertile soil of England, but it didn't take long for them to spread far and wide. By the late 19th and early 20th centuries, these seeds had taken root in countries across the globe. Let's look back at the formation of the International Rugby Football Board, now known as World Rugby, in 1886. This board brought a sense of unity to the sport, providing a governing body to oversee and develop rugby on a global scale. Now, rewind 5 years to 1871. This was the year of the first international rugby match. England and Scotland went head-to-head on a crisp March day, marking the start of a new era for the sport. So, there you have it. From its humble beginnings as a school game, rugby has evolved and grown, becoming a beloved international sport. And that's how rugby went from a school game to an international sport. Ever been confused about the different types of rugby? Well, let's clear the air. The game of rugby comes in 3 main formats: rugby union, rugby league, and rugby sevens. Starting with rugby union, the traditional form of the game, it's played by 2 teams of 15 players. The game is a strategic battle of endurance, lasting 80 minutes and known for its complex laws. Then we have rugby league, a faster-paced game with teams of 13. It's a more streamlined version of union, with simplified rules and a focus on continuous action. Lastly, we dive into rugby sevens, the lightning-fast variant. With only 7 players on each side and matches lasting just 14 minutes, it's a high-energy spectacle that's won fans worldwide. Each format brings unique dynamics and strategies to the table, offering a different experience for players and spectators alike. So that's your crash course on the different formats of rugby. Think rugby is a man's game? Think again. Women's rugby has been making waves since the 20th century, smashing stereotypes and challenging the status quo. The journey hasn't been easy, but the strides made are nothing short of phenomenal. Let's rewind to 1982, a landmark year in the history of the sport. The first women's rugby union match took place, igniting a spark that would grow into a roaring flame. The game was no longer a one-sided affair, as women took to the pitch demonstrating skill, strength, and a fierce determination to make their mark. Fast forward to 2016, and we see the inclusion of women's rugby in the Olympic Games. A monumental achievement that further solidified the sport's growing popularity and recognition. The world watched as women's rugby took center stage, a testament to the resilience and tenacity of all the women who dared to challenge the norm and embrace the rugged beauty of rugby. So ladies, don't let anyone tell you rugby isn't for you. Want to learn the basics of playing rugby? Let's dive right into it. Rugby is a thrilling game, a beautiful blend of power, agility, and strategic thinking. The rules might seem complex at first, but don't worry, we'll break them down for you. In rugby, the aim is to score more points than the opposing team. You can do this by scoring a try, which means touching the ball down in your opponent's in-goal area. This earns your team 5 points and a chance to add 2 more points through a conversion kick. Unlike most sports, in rugby, the ball cannot be passed forward. Instead, it must be passed laterally or backwards, adding an interesting twist to the game. If the ball is accidentally knocked forward, it results in a scrum, a unique formation where the 8 forwards from each team lock together and push against each other to gain possession of the ball. Tackling is a pivotal part of rugby. However, it's not just about brute force, it's about technique. A good tackle is made by wrapping your arms around the opponent's legs and driving them to the ground. Not only does this stop the player, but it also allows your team to contest for the ball. But rugby is not just about the physicality. Teamwork and strategy are key. Players must work together, coordinating their movements and passes and using clever tactics to outwit the opposition. It's like a game of chess. but with more sweat and mud. Remember, in rugby, every player has a role to play, from the nimble scrum half distributing the ball, the powerful prop driving the scrums, to the high-flying winger sprinting down the touchline. It's a game that values diversity, where every shape and size has its place. And let's not forget about sportsmanship. Respect for teammates, opponents, and referees is ingrained in the spirit of rugby. It's a tough sport, but one that's played with integrity and camaraderie. So, are you ready to give rugby a try? Remember, rugby is a game of strategy, skill, and most importantly, sportsmanship. Ever wondered about rugby's impact on the world? Well, let's dive into it. Rugby, a game of strength, agility, and strategy, has created waves across the globe. It's not just a sport, it's a culture, a lifestyle, a global community bound by the love for the game. From the bustling streets of London to the sun-kissed beaches of Fiji, from the snow-capped mountains of New Zealand to the expansive plains of South Africa, rugby has made its mark. The global popularity of rugby is undeniable. With over 6 million registered players worldwide, it has grown to become one of the most popular sports on the planet. But the influence of rugby extends far beyond the pitch. It has found its way into our homes, our schools, and our hearts. It has influenced fashion, music, and even the way we speak. Phrases like try, scrum, and ruck have become part of everyday language in many countries. But perhaps the most visible testament to rugby's global impact is the Rugby World Cup. Every 4 years, the world comes together to celebrate the sport in a spectacle of skill, strength, and sportsmanship. It's more than just a competition. It's a global gathering, a testament to the unifying power of sport. The tournament has grown exponentially since its inception, with the latest edition attracting a global audience of over 4 billion viewers. And let's not forget the sport's inclusion in the Olympic Games. Rugby Sevens, a fast-paced variant of the game, made its Olympic debut in 2016, showcasing the sport to an even wider audience. It was a landmark moment, not just for rugby, but for the global sports community, reaffirming the sport's place on the world stage. So there you have it. Rugby, from its humble beginnings, has grown into a global phenomenon, influencing culture and society in countless ways. It's more than just a game, it's a global community, a family united by a shared love for the sport. So, whether you're a fan or a player, you're part of a global community that loves rugby. So, what have we learned about rugby today? Well, we've taken a journey through the rich and fascinating history of rugby, a sport that was born in the heart of England and has since spread its wings to every corner of the globe. We've seen how rugby has transcended borders, cultures, and languages to become a truly global sport. In fact, it's more than just a sport, it's a shared passion that unites millions. We've explored the different formats of rugby, each with its own unique set of rules and characteristics. From the fast-paced, high-intensity thrills of Rugby Sevens to the strategic, physically demanding battles of Rugby Union, there's a form of rugby for everyone. And let's not forget Rugby League, with its emphasis on speed, agility, and power. We've also touched on the growing prominence of women's rugby. It's been inspiring to see how women have broken through barriers and stereotypes to make their mark on the rugby field. The rise of women's rugby is a testament to the inclusivity of the sport, and it's certainly an area to watch in the coming years. As for playing the game itself, we've delved into the skills, techniques, and strategies that make rugby such a dynamic and captivating sport. We've discussed the importance of fitness and training and how position-specific drills can help players maximize their potential. We've also highlighted the importance of safety and sportsmanship, two pillars that uphold the integrity of rugby. And so, we come to the end of our rugby journey, but remember, this is just the beginning. There's so much more to discover and learn about this wonderful sport. Whether you're a rookie just starting out, or a veteran with years of experience, there's always room for growth and improvement. Whether you're new to the sport or a seasoned fan, there's always something new to learn about rugby. Keep watching, keep playing, and keep enjoying this thrilling game.